All right, guys, welcome back to the Dragos Energy Podcast. Yes, I'm doing it. I said every week, but it's coming. It's coming. That cadence of every week is coming. Okay, we're still a bit behind, but it's just the gap is getting small from episode to episode. So I'll give you an update. I'm currently in Belgrade, Serbia. I'm doing some shows here at the moment in Belgrade, Serbia. So far, it's lit. It's temperatures like literally it's 32 degrees. Has been the past couple of days. Last night we got some rain here, but I did basically this little tour I'm doing now. It's four shows. I did Zagreb on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I did Belgrade. Today's Wednesday. I'm doing the third show today. So far so good. Most of the shows around like 100 people, and people are having fun. Wednesday is tonight. I have about 150 people on the waiting list so far, so it's great to see all the love from Serbia. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all the appreciations. We'll come back here again for sure in the next maybe like 2 to 3 months because we gotta give the people what they want. But the past 2 weeks have been pretty busy. I was in let's do a quick recap. I did some shows in London. I did 2 shows in London, early show and then late show from 9, and they were both pretty good. The early show specifically intense. I have a amazing clip ready from that show. I'm gonna have to cut it and edit it. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube and TikTok very soon. And afterwards, basically, I hung around London for a bit. London is expensive. Like, I don't understand London. It's so expensive. And to be honest, I think most of the places are going in the direction of London is now. I was after London, basically, I went to Luxembourg and Paris. But Luxembourg and Paris, you would expect to be quite expensive. But I don't know. It's when you go to places like London or Luxembourg, you think of yourself like, how? What does the future hold? Because I'm currently definitely not moving to London to do comedy because it's too expensive, it's too busy, it's definitely not my vibe. Okay, like I can barely breathe on the London tube. I don't know if you've been to London. If you go into the underground, the metro, it's just I think you now have to wear a mask just to kind of like be able to keep all the fucking toxins out of your lungs, because there's a lot of the train kicks up a lot of dust. Not a fan. So far, not a big fan of London. We had some food and stuff, but it just feels too crowded. That's my vibe on it. My girlfriend, I went there with my girlfriend. She actually liked it quite a lot, just because it's so much more vibrant and active. There's many more cultural events, and there are more cultural events. But I don't know. For me, I kind of like appreciate not having to spend 15 minutes in public transportation one way to a place. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather get there in like 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20, but like 15 minutes on transportation one way and then another 15 minutes back. It's like almost 2 hours that they spent in public transportation. It's like insane. I went afterwards to Luxembourg. Luxembourg's very small, easy to get around, no problem. We had a good show there, early show and late show. Early shows have become a bit more it's more difficult to get people into the early shows at the moment because of the summer. Nobody wants to come to a comedy show at 6:30, but we still had quite a lot of people at the early show in Luxembourg, and some of them were surprised, were 16, 17 years of age. I just had like lunch and my stomach's a bit funky, but it was pretty good. I've had fun in Luxembourg, the late show as well. The late show in Luxembourg was actually intense, very lit. And I've actually had a pretty good run of shows. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe I should start filming I am filming the shows anyway, but I'm thinking maybe if I were to kind of film a little special situation, I should probably do it soon, because like I think this is the best amount of practice that I've been getting at the moment. Like I think from show to show, it's been getting better and better. So I had a really good run in London. Then Luxembourg was lit. Paris was insane as well. The room is like on a boat, La Nouvelle Scene. It was a very nice venue. We had a lot of people. 100 people came, and people from all kinds of backgrounds. We had a good show in Paris as well. And afterwards, basically, I went back to Berlin, did a couple shows in Berlin, and then Zagreb and Belgrade, where I'm not. So it's been pretty busy. I'm trying to sneak as much comedy in before the summer comes. When the summer comes, things kind of slow down, okay? So next week as well, I'm going to be... Actually, tomorrow morning, I've got a 7 a.m. flight. Well, this is one thing that's kind of been... It's a bit rough about like the whole comedy life is... If you want to get reasonable flights in terms of price, you got to go early. So, for example, when I flew into Zagreb, I had to take a 6 a.m. flight. 6 a.m. flight, meaning I had a show the previous night, basically finishing up around like 12:30 I got home. I went to bed like 1, and because the flight was at 6 a.m., I had to wake up at like basically 3:30 and take the train all the way to the airport. So that night I slept like 2 hours and a half. Then I took the flight from Berlin to Thessaloniki. That's like 2 hours. Then a 1 hour connection in Thessaloniki, and it was fun. I just ate some olives there. It was good. very sunny, very nice. I had Macedonia written on the airport, so now I'm starting to understand a bit more of the controversy. And then afterwards, from Thessaloniki to Zagreb, I got to Zagreb. I found my accommodation, and basically I slept for 2 hours and a half, and then I did 2 shows. So this was my schedule basically at the start of this week. I did 2 shows, one 6:30, good amount of people, about like 50, 60 people. And then we did the late show. We had about like 80 people, also super lit, super fun show. But then I wrapped up that at like, let's say midnight, 12:30. And then my flight to Belgrade in the morning, because I took a flight, basically it was at 7:30 a.m. So once again, 5 hours of sleep, take the taxi to the airport. I had to wake up at like 5 a.m., shower, get to the airport. So it's been pretty hectic schedule. So the past 3 days, it's been a bit better because I came all the way to Belgrade, and I actually had the chance to sleep on Monday from 10 to like maybe like 3:30 in the afternoon. So I recouped a little bit on the sleep. I spent a bit of time on Tuesday going around, doing some editing. Same for today. I got some food, went around, did some editing. Zagreb is great this time of the year. Belgrade as well is amazing. A bit too hot in Belgrade, but last time we had some good rain that kind of like cleared up things. So that's like you're quickly caught up on what's been my schedule for the past 2 weeks. But yeah, the shows are great. I think doing shows in the Balkans is always fun because I think people here connect a little bit better with the material. They appreciate it. They know exactly what you're talking to, and I think like it's they also consume a lot of stand-up comedy from the US. But again, there's that distance between the American stand-up comedy, the American lifestyle, and what they have to deal with here on a day-to-day basis. Plus, you can be a little bit more aggressive with the dark comedy here. No one's super sensitive or anything. And the number one phrase I've been hearing over and over while in this part has been like, it's Balkans, bro. It's Balkans, bro. It's Balkans, bro. Bro, it's Balkans. Like, just chill. It's Balkans. We do things differently here. Even the place, I'm doing the shows in Belgrade at Ben Akiba, and they were still telling me that during the weekend, the parties here in Belgrade, they go hard. Parties in Belgrade, like they go super hard. They were working till like I think 10:30 the next day. They had like 48-hour shifts because one party starts at like, let's say 10, 11 p.m. and then it goes on till the next day at 10 a.m. Then you get a little bit of sleep and then another party starts. So the whole weekend is partying here in Belgrade. People like to go hard on the partying. I didn't really go too much into partying. I'm not a big partying fan actually because I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm trying to stay away from any type of activity that might cause me to consume alcohol. So partying has been off the list. But yeah, I haven't been as productive as I could have been because like I think when you're staying in hotels and like these kind of accommodations, I don't know, it affects your vibe a little. But I have been able to walk around town. And one of my favorite things to do is like when I come to one of these places is I get my audiobook and I walk around town. So I basically finished 2 books and I started a third one in the past 10 days. One of the books was basically Dealers of Lightning. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's effectively a book about the history of Xerox PARC in the US. Xerox PARC was this research center where a lot of technologies that we're using at the moment were kind of founded, and it just kind of goes into the politics, goes into like why it was set up, how it was set up, like the graphic user interface that you have like on the screen, the mouse, and all this kind of stuff was kind of invented there. So it was a quick listen, like 4 hours, quick listen. I listened to it on the plane, listened to walk around. It was interesting to see how the center kind of generates so much more innovation than any other place, right? Especially since Xerox, the company that actually funded it, didn't benefit from any of the fruits of the labor of innovation. So that was a fun read. And then I picked up a book called The Practice in Stoic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Stoicism, but I've been reading a little bit into it. It's just kind of like a philosophy, a way of thinking where you don't let thoughts overwhelm you. Because I think one of the biggest problems you have, especially, I don't know, I think just as an adult, as you kind of progress through life, you just get bombarded with like what ifs, maybes, worries, bills, problems, like inadequately comparing yourself to other people, feelings of inadequacy. So this book is all about like, just, focus on the present and, don't worry about things you can't control. The only thing you can't control an event, but you can control your perception of that event. That's basically the essence of the books. And it gives examples of what different kind of Stoics were talking about back in the days in the Roman times. So it was a 9-hour book. I kind of ran through that as well pretty fast. It was more of a background listen. I think I was kind of zooming in and out. It wasn't like particularly active listening, paying attention, taking notes. I am listening to a book at the moment that I am kind of taking notes on. It's called Inspired. It's actually a product management book. And the reason why I'm listening to it, I haven't finished. I'm like halfway through. The reason why I'm listening to this book called Inspired is because I'm thinking, I like to think of my comedy in terms of like startup and company terminologies. And I'm thinking in order to increase and elevate my stand-up, I need to understand it a bit better as a product. And how can I take some elements and lessons from product management to perhaps apply it to my product, which is the comedy, the written comedy, and maybe elevate it and get it to more people in a different form, more easier to consume, you name it. So that's another book I'm listening to. This is actually the fourth one, but basically the third one is a book called Your Brain on Music, and I just started listening to it today. And the reason why I started listening to this book, was I looking for it, is because I was trying to figure out how can I get some elements. Music is everywhere. Music is universal. You had massive songs like Numa Numa Ye or Gangnam Style or Despacito, music in different languages, kind of like appealing to an international audience. So I was thinking, how can I copy and emulate some elements of music writing, melody, tonality, whatever, and maybe transfer it into my comedy to perhaps make it a bit more international, but a bit more universal. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to try to understand how the music affects the brain. And maybe by understanding how music affects the brain, I can take some of those elements and basically reverse engineer them for my comedy. So far so good. It's basically, I'm like one chapter in, introductory chapter, talks about like, how different people like different types of music, how, music was quite controversial back in the 60s, the 70s. It gives you a little bit of history on music. So it's one of those books that you get out of left field and, hopefully it adds value in the future. Let's see exactly how it kind of helps out, but so far so good. I'm quite happy. I do try to read it as much as possible. I think, especially when you're dealing with such an international audience with people from all over the world, it kind of helps doing a lot of reading. And going forward for the summer, I've got so many clips. I've got so many clips for the summer that I'm trying to edit, and I'm going to put on TikTok. I'm going to put on YouTube. I'm going to put on like Facebook. YouTube Shorts I've been doing particularly good recently, not as good as TikToks, but it has been helping me grow a little bit more. And I'm just trying to stay, I think I mentioned this in the previous podcast, I'm trying to stay very apprehensive about not being too reliant on one platform, right? This is why I'm also doing the request a show in your city, where I'm trying to get emails from people so I can have direct access to the audience in case something happens. In case like I do get banned from TikTok or I get banned from YouTube, but I don't want to be left hanging. Do you know what I mean? But do you know what I mean? You don't want to be left hanging in case you get banned. Just trying to get direct reach to the audience. And yes, I'm still kind of looking into how potentially I could maybe sell some old recording of shows if you guys are interested, like the London show, the early show. I've been experimenting also with editing from dual cameras, from two free angles. I have some footage from Romania where basically we use free cameras and an actual recorder for the sound. So I was playing around with that to see if it's too time consuming to use it for editing. And so far so good. I am quite happy. Maybe I'll experiment a little bit more on it while I'm in Berlin, which is going to be tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to be in Berlin, and then we're going to have a Friday show, a Saturday show, a Sunday show, a Monday show, and then I'm off again on Tuesday to Eindhoven. And I'm doing Eindhoven on the 24th of May, so if you're there, check it out. 25th of May, I was supposed to do Rotterdam, but probably I'm going to have to switch it to 27th, because what happened was the local football team from Rotterdam qualified for the EuroLeague, apparently. So they're doing a screening of the game in Rotterdam, so that's a bit annoying. One thing this week I did not do, I didn't really check the news this week, which is great because I don't know what the fuck is happening in the world. I didn't really look into the Amber Heard or Johnny Depp trial. No idea what's happening over there. Last piece of news I kind of followed on was basically she shat on the bed, apparently, allegedly. But I'm like, okay, this is just nonsense. It's just polluting my mind. More impressions about Belgrade, more impressions. It does feel a lot about, it looks very similar to Romania back before the European Union. It's very interesting. It's kind of like it gives me a little bit of PTSD being here. That reminds me too much of like old Romania. But the people are quite nice and the people are quite friendly. And I really love the people that are coming to the shows there. You know, they really are I feel like appreciating it a lot. They're really appreciating the effort. And I think that's one of the important things is they know I'm doing it for this part of the world. They know I'm doing it with this part of the world experience, and they really appreciate it. So thanks a lot for coming to the shows, all the people here in Belgrade. I feel your appreciation. I'm going to write more stuff here. I'm going to write more stuff about Belgrade. I will come to Novi Sad at some point, and I'm also going to go to Montenegro at some point. We're going to figure out how. We're going to make it there, okay? We're going to go to Albania. We're going to go to all the Balkan countries, Bosnia as well, and everything that we can hit, okay? Greece as well. We're going to figure out all these production elements are quite time-consuming. Goals for the next week? Well, basically, I do have a couple of things in the pipeline that I want to kind of maybe tie together before the next week comes. Basically, I have some shows in Budapest on the 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to do some advertising on those. I was thinking of going to Cluj, maybe 6, 7, 8. I'm going to be in Barcelona on the 4th. So I'm just going to send a couple of emails to see if we can set and finalize some of these last minute shows. And I guess I'm just still looking for tools. I'm looking for tools to improve my productivity still. If you have any ideas on how I can get some tools to kind of... Actually, what kind of tools am I looking for? Let me put a call to action out there. I'm looking for stuff that might work well for YouTube. I'm looking for a thumbnail editor for YouTube, if you know any particular thumbnail editor or like thumbnail ideas, because I think that's a lot. That's quite a lot of good stuff. I'm looking for a planner, like a venue planner, like an agent. I don't know about the agent situation quite yet. I think it's still the number one element and focus should still be growth, online growth, to kind of reach a lot of people, right? Because I think when there's a lot of people that are interested in you, then you can kind of leverage that, to get an agent and to get like whatever you need to get, right? Somebody was talking to me. I was talking to one of the other comedians, and about shows in Canada. They say Canada's quite easy and quite friendly in terms of doing shows there. So I might be looking to do some shows in Canada in September, October, November. We'll see what are the possibilities to do some shows there. Canada, USA, I still do not know yet how that is going to look because visa is quite a big issue there. We'll see. That's kind of like it's a little. I like to keep these podcasts under 20 minutes. I think it's easy. It's a quick digestion of what's been happening. The shows in Berlin. What do I say? I have to say the shows in Berlin. The shows in Berlin have been a bit slow recently because of the warmth. There's a lot of sun in Berlin at the moment. I think people want to be outside and drink and so on and so forth. But I will focus on doing some more spots this summer, just to write. I think the goal is what I would like to do this summer is I would like to write maybe like 40 new minutes. 40 new minutes of comedy, just sit down, do 2 hours, 3 hours of writing every day, test it in the evening, and be a lot more diligent so I can get this 1 hour that I have now that I've been doing at shows, get it out there, put it on YouTube, maybe ask some people to pay for it, maybe start a Patreon with it, but just try to get the stuff out there so we can move into new material, new jokes, maybe explore some new writing strategies. Oh yeah, there was this book I wanted Stephen King on writing, I think I had my eye on. At the moment, I'm using Audible for my book listening. So I have 1 credit a month, but I think I'm going to up it again to 2 credits. Because at one point, they were kind of building up and I didn't have time to use all the backlog. But we'll see. Yeah, I do want to have some more writing techniques. I want to figure out how I can write some jokes with... I feel like I'm getting bored of this hour doing it. It's great so far. It's getting refined. But I think it's got to the point where it's like maybe 85% ready. And now there's just the remainder of the completion of it is just like finishing it up here and there. But we'll see. I'll definitely do it. Maybe I think I'm gonna film it. Good question. When can I film it? Should I film it in Cluj? It's kind of like not a lot of time to kind of get it filmed yet, but I'll figure it out. All right. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in on the Dragos Energy Podcast. If you guys haven't checked out the show, look at my Instagram. The link tree has all the links there for the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna do stuff. I'm gonna start setting up shows for September and October. But if you liked it, send me a message. Write what do you like about the podcast? What do you want me to talk about? I will take requests and I can talk about different things. And at the same time, I hope you're doing well. Let me know what you think of the current developments in the world, and maybe I'll discuss them as well. But thanks for tuning in, and see you guys later. Bye bye.